Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update. The afternoon update with Lynlee Foo.
That's right. You're with me, Lynlee, on the afternoon update. Now, nearly 1 billion people worldwide rely on remittances every year, and Asia Pacific is at the heart of this global money flow. But how we send and receive funds is changing fast. Visa's latest Money Travels 2025 report shows that digital apps have now overtaken traditional channels as the most popular way to move money across borders. What's driving this tipping point, and what does it mean for banks, fintechs, and consumers? To find out, I'm joined by Debarun Roy Choudhury, Vice President and Head of Commercial and Money Movement Solutions for Southeast Asia at Visa. Roy, welcome to Industry Insight.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you so much for having me today.
Lovely to have you on the show. Now, Roy, Visa's latest report shows that digital apps have overtaken traditional channels as the most popular way to send and receive remittances across Asia Pacific. Tell us more about this decisive shift.
So, Lynn, this is actually interesting behavior, right? And it's not new. It's been happening over a period of time. And like you said, it truly is decisive. There are really three key areas or three pain points that are being solved now, and that revolves around speed, certainty, and control. So these consumers across the world want to send money, receive money in near real time. They want to track it. They want to make sure it's authenticated, it's secure. So these are some trends and needs that have driven this behavior.
I suppose once convenience is embedded, there's really no turning back.
Absolutely not. And it's good. It's great for the ecosystem. So we love it.
So, Roy, how does this digital migration change the way providers, banks, remittance operators, fintechs, how do they compete in the market today with this change?
So I would focus this around 3 or 4 key pivotal moves, right? So I think first and foremost, it's an entire ecosystem that actually works together.
Okay.
And they focus on driving seamless experience. Right. And the priority is, like I said, if the user experience is convenient and easy and you make sure it's secure, it's private, people gravitate towards it. Right. They feel comfortable. We're also seeing an acceleration of digital first approaches with the ubiquity of smartphones, with us consuming so much content. It's second nature now. So financial services is embedded within it. And I think most important is all providers across the ecosystem are now focusing on agility. So it's not just about the transaction. Of course, you want it to be as frictionless as possible, but you want the value-added services around it. You want it to be flexible. You want real-time tracking. You want the analytics that comes out of it. So these are areas that, are driving the behavior amongst banks, remitters, as well as fintech.
Okay, so it's less about the size of your network and more about the quality of a digital experience, I suppose?
So quality is crucial. Size of network is important, but that is behind the scenes. So the way the partnerships are working, and this is, I suppose, one of our key strengths, is the banks, remitters, and fintechs are collaborating, increasing the size of the network, and working very closely with us as well. And that's perhaps what we call the network of networks, to make sure scale is part of the system.
Okay, so let's talk about the innovation and technology here, with AI, and what other things are we looking at, Is it to do with blockchain, real-time payment networks? How might these influence the future of cross-border remittances, Roy?
So I think, you can't have a conversation without touching a little bit on what AI is doing in the world today. And I suppose what's driving that behavior is a lot of efficiency that AI brings to the table. It also brings the ability for you to personalize the experiences. So you and I, when we're on any kind of app, especially financial services apps and remittance apps now, you want the app to be able to interact with you as if it knows you. And the ability for us to crunch the scale of data powered by AI is driving that personalized experience, which is so crucial, right, for you to have an ongoing and sticky relationship with that particular provider.
Okay, but what about factors like security? Because your survey found that consumers now rank security and convenience above fees. So what does that tell you or us about the evolving mindset of these users?
So that is, while that's an interesting finding and it has come up on top, it's actually not surprising. Whenever you're dealing with fund movement, right, it's an extremely personal as well as important decision that you make. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're comfortable and you find that platform safe, right? And that's why you hear users talking about it so often. And with the world of safety and fraud prevention evolving at the pace at which it is, I believe it's top of mind for most of our users. And then comes, while cost and pricing will always remain a priority, we're seeing the fact that safety and personalization of the experience is coming tops right now. And AI, therefore, plays an important role in how Visa keeps that ecosystem safe and secure.
Okay, it shows a real shift in priorities, I think. People are willing to pay slightly more if they know their money will arrive instantly and safely, and, of course, with full transparency. I think that trust element is really the new currency, don't you think?
Absolutely, 100%. And that's where, some of our banking partners, our fintech partners, they play to that strength, right, where they've got the relationship with their clients. Clients feel comfortable working with them. They ensure that the scale that the collaboration drives through these digital platforms in their everyday life gives them the confidence to engage and interact more and more and more often.
Okay, Roy, across Asia Pacific, adoption rates vary. India and the Philippines are leading, while Japan and Singapore are seeing steady growth. What explains these differences?
So there are a couple of reasons, and I think one of the fundamental differences that you see in markets like India and Philippines is the youthful nature of the population. They are a mobile-first generation, right? So they are doing so many things that traditionally in the past wouldn't be on devices, wouldn't be online, but they are. And now that becomes the choice. That's the first choice. We're seeing that scale across countries. We're seeing it in Singapore as well, and I think that's a trend that will remain. If you think about e-commerce in the past or brick-and-mortar transactions, you'd go to a shop, you'd go to a store. Now you're making most of your purchases online, and similarly, therefore, for your financial transactions, it saves you a lot of time. If you are feeling safe about it, then why not? So I feel that's a crucial factor to remember.
All right. And younger consumers in particular, nearly 3/4 now prefer apps, according to the Visa report. What does this generational shift mean for the long-term role of banks and traditional money transfer operators?
Fantastic question, Lynn. I'm so glad you asked that, right? And I think younger users are user-centric, right? They prefer a platform that understands them. They prefer a platform that will give them the speed and security. And these habits are ingrained in these consumers, right? And we are forecasting actually a diminishing reliance on physical channels, and loyalty would depend on convenience, trustworthiness of that experience. What this does, though, it also opens up opportunities for new integrated solutions for all of these banks, fintechs, and our partners. And at the heart of it is the data, right? And this data can help institutions know their customers better. It does two things, to be honest. It allows you the opportunity to understand their behaviors and therefore serve them better. But it also concurrently offers you the opportunity to keep that entire ecosystem safe. So you know what behaviors you expect. And if unexpected behaviors happen based on the data, then you know how to protect the system.
Okay. Roy, traditionally, remittances were thought of simply as family support. But your report shows funds now also going into investments, humanitarian aid, even emergency needs. So how is this reshaping the role of remittances?
So remittances now, have become the heart of financial services. We've always wanted to, and we've prided ourselves in being the best way to pay and be paid, right? So if you think of traditionally, we thought of remittances as P2P transactions. So I'm sending money for family purposes overseas. Maybe I'm working in another country and my family is still in another country, so I'm sending back family allowances. But that has now expanded. Due to the cross-border nature of the global economy, you're making investments, right? Your kids are traveling overseas to study. In the past, because of, I'd like to say the inconvenient nature of these transactions, you'd have to sum it all up and maybe make a transfer once a quarter, half a year in some cases. But now, because of the speed, efficiency, and cost of it, it can be just in time, right? So you can rest assured that your kids are studying overseas or working overseas, but when they need it, you'll be able to transfer money. And therefore, for the recipient, that provides a lot of safety and peace as well to be able to lead their lives as best they can.
So remittances are moving from survival to growth and even opportunity creation.
Exactly, and that's a great point. So when we see the transition of how remittances have grown beyond just P2P transfers, we're seeing them become the heart of B2B transactions. Even when you're making disbursement payments, content creators, Lynn, are now a big part of our society. We're seeing content creators receive their revenues cross borders, and it's gone beyond just account-to-account transfer. They're actually using their cards, virtual or physical in nature, it doesn't really matter. It's just different avatars. But these are becoming receiving vehicles. So think of these content creators really as micro and small businesses now are receiving their earnings faster. And that becomes a huge fueling of working capital as well as growth of the economy.
Okay, having said that, Roy, remittances are still a lifeline for many low-income households. So do you see digital remittances contributing to perhaps broader financial inclusion, helping the unbanked or underbanked gain access to perhaps more services?
No, absolutely. I think that's crucially important. Whether you look at various use cases, various segments of society. You can see the work we're doing with, refugees in Malaysia. You can see the work we're doing with migrant worker populations, making sure that they get paid on time. And, of course, finally, last but not least, the really small businesses who have traditionally not always had the kind of services that they need. They all have this, and now most importantly, they have it in cost-efficient devices. So you could literally get a business up and running on your phone. And that is so much more power to the entire society.
Well, indeed. And from Visa's perspective, what role do you play in helping banks, fintechs, and remittance providers build a more seamless cross-border payments ecosystem?
So I think fundamentally, earlier we spoke about the point on scale, right? So think of Visa as the orchestrator of 11 billion payment endpoints in over 195 countries, and we're supporting these transactions in many cases near real time, right? Near instant transactions. So we become the central cog where our financial institutions, our fintechs, our remittance partners connect with us, and they can then really go from 0 to 60 in super fast time. So we bring that scale to the ecosystem. We invest heavily in keeping that network secure and safe, so that we can continue to innovate with peace of mind. That's predominantly the role we play. So this drives inclusion as well as a thriving, innovative ecosystem.
Okay, interesting. We're running out of time, Roy. Fast forward 5 years, how might the cross-border payment experience look compared with today? What might surprise you or consumers the most?
So I think a couple of things we expect, right? So first and foremost, we spoke about near instantaneous, how seamless the experience is going to be. I think that's just going to continue. Whether it's wallets, whether it's banking platforms, you'll see a huge amount of collaboration between them. We're also going through a hyper-personalization journey, right? With the advent of AI and scalable analytics, services will be tailored. So you'll almost be engaging, like every experience will get customized. This scale, this user experience and gravitation toward digital apps is going to give you a significant efficiency, and therefore that reduces costs. So these are the three things that we think will happen across globally. And I think the integration of the entire financial ecosystem, which I referred to across almost 195 countries and beyond that we bring along with our partners, that will make the diversity in financial products table stakes almost. So you can expect this theme to be exuberant and continue to get hyper-personalized.
And very, very seamless, I suppose.
And that's got to be the case. Okay. Can't avoid that.
Thank you so much, Roy, for your insights today. He is Debarun Roy Choudhury, Vice President and Head of Commercial and Money Movement Solutions for Southeast Asia at Visa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lynn. It was wonderful catching up.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.